Welcome to Kletus Roadside Service. We're running a dump truck today. Well, it ain't exactly a dump truck. It's a straight truck, roll-off truck, and I put a 20-yard roll-off box on here, and my job's got kind of a little mixed up, but we're doing all right. We're doing all right. We had to come in, get the truck ready to go. It's a Kenworth, older Kenworth, I don't know. And it's one of our only, well, not only, we have several, but we don't have that many manuals. So pretty cool. I get to drive a manual today. Most everything is automatic, just because we got a lot of newbies coming in. The world is a changing, and nobody knows how to run a damn manual, or they get their license with the automatic restriction on there. So that's the way of the world, but it's an 8-speed, so that's pretty cool. Running this motherfucker. Had to come up towards Chillicothe, about 2 hours away from our shop. Emergency response was out here the other day, and they had I don't even know what happened, but there was some sort of a diesel release, probably an accident of some sort. I don't know. You can also blow a tire and damage your fuel tank and leak it out. I don't know, but either way, we had to bring up some dirt, some clean dirt from Kansas City. It could have been from anywhere, but they decided, we got some in Kansas City, some dirt over there. So grabbed me 10 yards worth of dirt, ran it up here, dumped it off. The shit looked really dry when I picked it up, so I was like, oh, this shit's going to come out wonderful. No, it did not. I mean, it came out, but it took some work. And we're working in the median of a highway. Regular split highway, 4 lanes. They had a couple of lanes shut down for us, so that was nice, but I had to he's like, hey, I don't have a broom with me, so don't dump it on the concrete. I'm like, okay, but it's a ditch. So I back off the highway into the ditch, and I'm sitting crooked, and I'm like, even though I thought it was dry, I was like, I don't want to lift up the bed, a fully loaded bed worth of dirt, and be on an angle. That's just a recipe for disaster. But I did. And everything worked out fine. I was just super careful with it. Go nice and slow until I saw, some dirt coming out. Once you see dirt coming out, you're pretty good. If dirt's coming out, like a big pile of it, I see it pull up in my mirror and whatnot. But I do not like this roll-off truck. And maybe it's just because I'm a fucking pussy, but the mufflers, it's usually our trucks, they're pretty standard. They just have one muffler or exhaust pipe on the passenger side. But this one, I got a dual muffler setup, which is fine. But whenever I'm trying to load up and offload a roll-off box from inside the cab, I can't see what the fuck it's doing. Like, it was making all kinds of, whenever I was loading up the full box, it was making all sorts of kind of racket. And I'm like leaning over, trying to look in my mirror, but the muffler's just taking up all my vision from it. And, mirrors are important when you're doing that, because you don't want to, you're loading up a full box, and you don't want it to be getting twisted on there. And because I've had it happen just because I thought I knew everything, and I thought I could, just load up a box and have no problems. And I've done it several times before and never had a problem, but one time you're going to have a problem. The one time you're not expecting it. The one time you need to hurry up and get this fucking thing loaded and get on the road, you're going to be loading it up, and you're going to have a little bit of, I don't know, you're going to overlook some things. And I had a box come up sideways on me. Not sideways, but it was not coming up straight the way it was supposed to, and Luckily, that was an empty box. Um, but you know, these things, if you're loading it improper, these things could fall off the side of the truck, you know, and that would be no good. And it's attached to a winch, and you know, especially if it's a loaded box and it comes off sideways, it's going to take your truck with it. You're all going over, you know. So, anyways, I always try to drop and load a box on flat ground. I don't want to be tilted sideways. I don't want to be pointed downhill. I don't want to be pointed uphill too much. I want to try to be on level ground, because there's different factors that come into play. Like if you're pointed downhill and you're loading a box and you let that, if you lower your bed too far, you know, you have pulling power with the winch, but you don't have stopping power with the winch. So if you're going down and the box decides to start rolling forward, it's gonna fucking, I mean, depends on how far it's traveling and how heavy it is, but I mean, these trucks are strong as fuck, but you know, having I don't know, 20, well, not 20, probably 10-ton box, 20,000 pounds, sliding forward with nothing to stop it other than the hooks, it could fuck some shit up, you know, and you don't want that. You don't want that situation. And then going uphill, like if you're loading uphill, you just have a higher chance of lifting the front end of the truck up off the ground, which isn't, I mean, sometimes that happens. Sometimes, you know, you are loading up a fucking heavy box. We got quad axles and shit. Or they just, whenever you're loading up a box, it depends on where the load is in the box. You know, whenever I got my load of dirt, the guy's like, where do you want it? Do you want it in front? Do you want it in the back? I said, put it right in the middle of that fucking box, you know. I want it right in the middle of the box. I like an even load. I don't like to have to guess whether the front of the box is heavy or the rear of the box is heavy. And I really don't like a heavy rear of the box, you know, because that just causes problems, man. But probably front of center is where people would normally have a box loaded, because as you tip it up to load the box, some of the dirt is going to flow backwards. But the way I load a box, you don't have to tip it very high. The way you're supposed to load a box, you're not supposed to have to tip it all the way up in the fucking air, and have any load shift, really. But if you're loading liquid, that's where it'll get you. If you're loading up a vac box full of liquid, as you start tilting that, obviously all the liquid's going to go to the back of the box, and the front of the box is going to have nothing on it. So you got to suck that box all the way up on the rail, just about, and you are going to have it tipped pretty fucking high up, because you don't want to overextend your hydraulics. You know, if you got hydraulic pressure to lift the bed up to this height, and you're loading the box, and the box raises the table for you, it's going to get up to a point, and then it's going to fucking fall, and it can be scary. And that's happened to me a couple of times too, where I just didn't realize the box was lifting the table up as I was loading, you know. And then once it gets past that pivot point, it just fucking blam! You're like, oh shit, dude. And you don't want to tear anything up, you know. Tearing shit up is never a good idea. But anyways, yeah, really boring day for the most part. Just got a load of dirt, brought a clean load of dirt out here, loaded up the nasty diesel impacted dirt, turned around, and I'm headed back to Kansas City with it. I'm going to take it back to our shop, because they got to run analytic testing on it before any disposal facility will take it, you know, because nobody just wants to take anything. They want to make sure, you know, and everything has to be documented. You can't just say, oh, it's just dirt, and take it somewhere. Everything has to be documented and accountable, especially us as an environmental company, you know. But there are sometimes I've known some people to do that, not at my company, but at other companies where they're like, just take it to the landfill and tell them it's just trash or whatever. And it's like, okay. And you take it there and you dump it, and you're like, that ain't just trash. I mean, but most of the time it's something that will go to the landfill. They just want analytic to go with it, and they can charge you more if it's anything other than just generic trash or dirt. But no, we're doing good. Everything's fine. I already got loaded up. Everything's good to go. The dirt that I picked up, I think, is a little heavier than the dirt that I dropped off. I can feel the difference in this thing. And I was also, whenever I loaded the box up, I was a little bit on an angle also, but more flat ground, but still a little bit of an angle. And it was a little bit to deal with. Another thing is, like, you have the box. The box has wheels on it. You can just sit in the truck with the brake set and suck the box up onto the truck, but the wheels on the box, sometimes they're heavy, and they dig down into the dirt or concrete, or well, not concrete really, but like gravel or something. So I released my tractor brakes and run the winch, and it sucks the truck up underneath the box, so the box essentially stays in the same spot and does zero ground damage. And I had a few people there sitting there watching me. There's one guy from MoDOT. He was the guy that was putting all the cones up and everything, doing our lane closure for us. He was going to stand there and monitor us. And he was over there taking a video of me loading the box up. I'm like, don't do that. I don't want a video, just in case something does go bad. And also, you're opening yourself up for critique at that moment. But I did everything by the book. I mean, I'm fucking one of the best roll-off drivers there is. God damn it. Not a whole lot else going on. I rode the bike in again today. It's a wonderful day out here. It's super nice out. I'm going to ride it again tomorrow. Because, yeah, my day's going to be done when I get back to the shop. Hop on that motherfucker and ride that shit home. Hell yeah. Might even take a little bit of a detour and go out riding a little bit more, because I don't know. I don't like riding in rush hour. Rush hour, on the highway is just never a good time. So the way I take home from work is through like this neighborhood road that just happens to go all the way through and leads up to another highway that's closer to my house. But there's less traffic, there's less risk of an accident and shit. And it takes a little bit longer, and I don't mind it. If I'm on my way home and I'm riding the bike, I ain't in a rush to get home. I'm enjoying myself, is what I'm doing. I like turning on my music and just riding that motherfucker. But I'm still running into the problem to where I cannot figure out how to skip songs with my fucking helmet headset, It says in the manual that you're supposed to be able to, like, double tap a button, but it fucks everything up. Every time I try to do that, trying to hit buttons, and you can't see the buttons or anything. Trying to fucking tap the buttons to just skip a song. And it just, like, it opens up, because I got Amazon Alexa, and I also got the Cortana, or whatever the fucking AI bullshit, where you're able to talk to your phone and ask you a question and beeps at you, bullshit, and closes all your fucking apps down. You're like, God damn it, man. Like, because I'm wearing gloves and I can't fuck with my phone very well, and I don't know how skilled of a rider you have to be to where you can fuck with your phone when you're riding, but I don't know if I'll ever do that, The most I can do is tap the button on the side of my helmet that pauses and unpauses or answers or declines phone calls. And it's all the same button. I don't know. I don't know. You know. Also, it's got volume, but just want to be able to skip a song. Like that's a really important part. That it should be easy, because otherwise I'm riding and I use my phone as my dashboard on my bike. So I gotta slide down from the top, and then I gotta go to my music, because whenever I have my phone sideways, it hides the fucking buttons that I need to skip a song. And then usually, you try to slide up a little bit and you can't fucking do it. And this is all at a stoplight, but the stoplights are turning green and shit, and I gotta put it in neutral, and then I gotta focus on this, and then the lights turning green, and then I gotta fucking clutch it and go, and then now I'm riding, and I don't even have my goddamn speedometer pulled up, and of course, yeah, I could pull over. They're like, oh, just pull over every time you need to do that. Sometimes there's not a lot of good spots to pull over, and I don't want to pull over, and then all the people that are behind me get in front of me, and then I gotta go slow again, I try to get ahead of people. I'm not trying to rush home, but I'm also trying to enjoy my ride. And putting through this fucking neighborhood at 15 miles an hour is not really enjoyable. It really just irritates the fuck out of me, and I want to fucking pass the people, because there's some really cool curves on that road. I don't know if you can hear, but this is a bumpy motherfucking truck, and it's really bothering me. So if my voice is going fucking up and down, it's because I'm just bouncing on this fucking bullshit highway. God damn it, man. Can nobody make, fuck, it's a fucking smooth fucking road anymore? No. Son of a bitch, dude. The, I think it's because there's more dirt towards the ass end of my box here, and I'm kind of like, I'm on the other end of it's like you get a fat boy and a skinny boy on a teeter-totter. I'm the skinny boy for once. And I'm on the other end of the fucking teeter-totter, just fucking bouncing like I'm at the mercy of the fat boy, And once you get on the teeter-totter, you got to have a lot of trust to get on a teeter-totter with somebody. It's like, hey, I want to watch you teeter-totter with somebody else before I let you teeter-totter with me, I'll tell you that. Have you ever had that problem? Have you ever had the problem of getting on the teeter-totter with a fucking asshole? I've been there. I've been there several times. Or they bounce you, and you got your hands on the little handle or whatever, and then, they bounce you so much that you flip over and you face plant on the fucking board, and you're just like, I want to get down. But you say that enough times, guess what? Fat Boy's just gonna hop off the motherfucker. He's gonna be sitting on the ground. He's just gonna slide off the back of that fucking teeter-totter, and you're gonna come crumbling down to the ground, crying to your mom. Your leg gets stuck under there, and you smash your fucking ankle. God damn, dude. I'm bringing up some childhood memories here, is what I'm doing. Starting to figure out why I'm fucked up. Just kidding. I don't think I'm all that fucked up, but I've definitely been in a teeter-totter situation. Anywho, what was I talking about? My dirt bike and not being able to switch songs, and the whole process that goes into trying to operate a phone with gloves at a stoplight just to switch it off of, a song, And I try to listen to I don't try. I always listen to my playlist, 78.9 KRRS FM, found on Spotify. It's just a playlist of cool songs that I found. But it's like a classic rock radio station is what it is. And I listen to that all the time, but, I don't know. I'm like, I know there's so many bangers in there, but there's some that they're not filler. They're all important songs that remind me of certain times in my life. And but sometimes I don't want to listen to Benny and the Jets right now. I'm looking for something different. Anyways, for right now, I just usually just listen to it. It'll be over eventually. But then if the next song isn't like a banger that I'm looking for Kickstart My Heart or, I don't know, something by Bon Jovi. I don't know. You know how I am. Anyways, I don't know. They do make different helmet communication devices and stuff. So maybe I'll upgrade one day. This one was pretty cheap. I think it was like $80, but it's like performing very well. Like I'm very happy with my purchase, other than not being able to switch songs. Even though it says you can, I don't know. I couldn't figure out how to turn the bitch on for a long time. You gotta hold both buttons. It doesn't even say that in the fucking instructions. I had to watch a YouTube video. I was like, I cannot get this motherfucker to turn on. This thing's broken. And then I got start going through the reviews, and other people are having the same problem. They're like, this thing won't fucking turn on. But then, the seller will reply, and he's like, hey, yeah, you watch this video. You know, you gotta fucking hold both buttons. And I'm like, all right. Why don't you put that in the instructions? You know, I feel like that'd be simple to do. You know. Anyways, it's pretty cool. I like it. It's got a good mic with it, so I can talk to people on the phone while I'm riding. The only problem is I think I have to have my face shield down. I can also record a podcast on it, and I have done that a couple of times. But I like to chew tobacco, and whenever I chew tobacco and I talk a lot, I get a lot of spit, and it's hard to spit with the dirt bike helmet on, or just any motorcycle helmet. I guess I could get an open face helmet, but I'm not trying to go that far. I like the helmet I got. You know, it's pretty cheap, but it fits nice. My communication stuff fits in there really well. I can wear my sunglasses. It's got a full face visor that comes down, which I think I might get some tint for it, you know, because, I don't know if I will. I think that's what a lot of, you can look at a guy riding a motorcycle, and if they have a tinted windshield on their helmet, you're like, that guy's up to no good. But if you're riding around and you have a completely clear face shield, people will look at you and like, that guy ain't up to nothing bad. That's a fucking nerd on a DR650 is what that is. He ain't doing nothing bad. Look how fat he is. He's not doing anything crazy. And then they turn around and I'm fucking flying, dude. The new suspension setup I've had, oh my gosh, I think I just did a wheelie. Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure the front wheels were off the ground just there. This fucking highway is a fucking piece of shit. I'll tell you that right now. There's no reason I should be wheeling my fucking semi right now. That also probably kind of tells me that I'm probably a little heavy on my rear axles. Maybe I can slam on the brakes and get some shit to move. Probably not. Just gotta be careful going around these fucking corners. I'll tell you that. I'm just kidding. I don't think the wheels came up off the ground. That was just a really big bump, though. No, if the wheels came off the ground, they would have came off the ground when I was loading this motherfucker up. You know, whenever I had it tilted, it would have came up off the ground. I loaded it from the outside because that fucking muffler, I can't see what's happening. I gotta have my triangulations and cosmetology to figure it out before I can load up this box. But anyways, the other thing about suspension, which is the DR, which I'm very excited about. I'm sure you guys can tell. I bring it up every episode several times. I'm in love with the suspension. It's so much better. Like before, because I use both brakes to come to stops. And before, I mean, the front forks would compress quite a bit when I'm coming to a stop. And then it would, kind of bounce back. And then, or if you're just riding on the highway and you hit some of these bumps or whatever, I'll bounce up and down at least twice. And I've noticed with this new suspension, it's set up pretty good for me. So I'll bounce, and then the suspension will just return to normal height. I'm not sitting there going up and down or whatever. So, very, very happy with my suspension upgrade. I was hoping it wasn't going to be too stiff. It's not. It's perfect. I don't think I have to do any more adjustments to it. The front forks, there is no more adjustment I can do to it. I could barely get the fucking caps to go on with a half-inch spacer, making them a little bit stiffer. I don't want them any softer than they are. They're perfect where they're at. So I'm done there. And then the rear suspension, I thought I might have to tune it a little bit, maybe make it a little bit more stiff, bring the ride height a little bit more up, but no, it's good, exactly where it's at. Every bridge is just a piece of shit out here. There's so many bridges. Just the fucking shitty bridges everywhere. Every one of them is just like a war zone you're driving over, it feels like. Anyways. Last night was good. So this is something I did last night. I did not expect to do. But I got home and one of the dogs ended up they were locked up for a little bit too long and they made a mess in their kennel. The dogs don't usually make messes in their kennel, but I decided, I'm going to clean up all the dog kennels, even though there's only one that had mess in it. All the dogs are going to get all new kennels, new cleaned up kennels or whatever. And I come home and there's some dirty laundry in the little entryway from the garage into the house. So I cleaned that up, and then I went in there and I was going to throw that laundry in the washer, but the washer had wet clothes in it. And then the dryer had dry clothes in it, and then there's no fucking empty laundry baskets anywhere. So I kind of just overpacked a laundry basket with the dry clothes. This is boring, by the way, just so you know. Just so you know, just talking here. This is all I got right now. Doing laundry, like anybody does. But I don't. Do you separate anything from anything? I separate, like hoodies. I separate blankets and towels. But other than that, I don't know. The only other separation I do is I don't wash my wife's clothes or my kids' clothes. Yeah, she got on me whenever they were babies. She got on to me about using fabric softener for the baby's clothes. So I just quit doing. Ever since my son was a baby, I don't do the kids' clothes. I'm like, you can do it. You fucking cussed me out once. I ain't doing it again. Anyways, that's not even what I'm talking about here. I've got laundry everywhere, and I have to get it taken care of, and I want to get these dog beds washed also. So I get everything switched over, and then, before I load the wet clothes into the dryer, I noticed that the little lint trap won't shut all the way. So I looked down in there, and yeah, some lint has gotten past the lint trap and gone down in there. So I was like, well, I should take care of this, So I grab a coat hanger, a metal coat hanger, and I'm in there trying to kind of stir it up a little bit because it's all packed up. And I was like, well, as soon as I turn this on, it'll suck it all in and it'll go through the chute. It wasn't working the way I wanted it to work. So I was like, there's a way to take this fucking thing apart. You know, everything you can take apart. So I flipped the dryer over on its face, thinking I could just take the bottom of the dryer off and get to all the stuff. No, you got to take the top back off, the control panel off. Then you got to unscrew the top, lift up the top. Then you got to unscrew the whole front of the motherfucker, take it off, and then you got to unclip the fucking shroud guard thing, and then you can finally get to the lint and stuff. And there was so much lint in there, and this is where I want to, if you get anything out of this, just because you clean out your lint trap doesn't mean there isn't lint stuck in your dryer. The hose that goes outside and the little pipe on the back of the dryer, completely clear. No problems. Those are completely clean and fine. But there's so much shit trapped in the bottom of your dryer. I'm telling you. Unless you bought a dryer this year, you should probably, not this year, but last year, you should probably go check it out. Because that's just flammable. That's just, there's electrical parts down there. Turns out the blower that blows all the lint through the pipe, the lint has to go into the blower, like into the blades, and it sucks it into the blades and then blows it out through the pipes. And it's pretty badass, but just imagine that thing sparks once. And you have all this lint trapped in the bottom of your dryer. It's a recipe for disaster, okay? So clean your goddamn dryers out, okay? Not just the lint trap, the whole fucking thing. You got to take it apart. It's going to take a little bit of time. You're going to Google some stuff, but it's going to be worth it. Because I looked at that and I said, you know what? This is going to fail. If I don't do anything about this, something is going to fail. It might have had something to do with me taking a 5-hour energy yesterday. Not sure, but I was ready to do shit when I got home. So I ended up taking the whole dryer apart, clean it out. They could have designed it a lot better and easier to clean, but whatever. I got it all cleaned up as much as I could, put it all back together, got the laundry going. I had to do another load of laundry of just regular clothes, and then I waited for that to get done. And then I finally got to the dog beds and got those all washed up and cleaned up. And my German Shepherd shreds blankets because she had a nice dog bed when we got her. It was a really big, nice dog bed. It had all different sections on it and everything. It was super nice and easy to clean, and she tore that motherfucker to shreds before she was 6 months old or whatever. So, and those dog beds are not cheap, and I'm like, and we had to figure something out before we got our new bed, so we threw blankets in there, shredded those motherfuckers to, completeness. It's just shredded all over the whole basement, because I'm not home all the time. And even sometimes I am home, I look at it and I say, she's just going to keep shredding shit. There's no point in cleaning any of this. Like, clean it every now and again, but it's like, every time she goes in the kennel, are you going to pick up every little shred that she makes? No. It's just, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I throw dog toys in there. We got a bark box. It's like a mail. Yeah, it's a subscription thing. They send every month. They send you a couple of dog toys and dog treats or whatever for, I don't know how much it is, and they're decent dog toys. And I throw those in there. Sometimes she won't even touch the dog toys. She just wants to shred the blankets and towels and all this bullshit. But when I recently cleaned out the garage for my other big dogs that have since passed, their blankets and stuff were still in there because that kennel kind of got blocked off, and it was just, the garage was a no-go zone. It was just nobody go in there, nobody touch anything. It's just a fucking mess. But I cleaned it up. So I had all those dog blankets ready to go. So I got those all washed up and put in there. And let me tell you, when I woke up this morning and let the dogs out, the blankets that I had folded and put into her kennel were still folded and in the same spot. She didn't tear anything up. So proud of that dog. I'm like, maybe she's done. Maybe she's done tearing up her beds. Maybe we've got to the point to where she's not going to tear up the beds anymore. We'll find out shortly. Because also, it's in the basement. She just goes down in there all the time. She loves her kennel. Don't know why. She just loves her kennel. We'll be sitting upstairs hanging out, and she'll be going wild, and I'll tell her, and I think she's misunderstanding me, but she just gets up into my face constantly, and I'm like, get down. And I don't know if she takes it as, go to your kennel, you're being a bad girl. I hope not, because she's not being a bad girl. She just wants a lot of attention. I give her some attention, and I'm like, all right. I got other things going on. And half the time I'm like, to my kids or whatever, I'm like, come give me a hug. Come here, give me a hug. And the dog runs over. And I give the dog a hug. I hug the dog. I love the dog. I love all the dogs. I give all the dogs lots of pets every time I come home. We play. They lay on my legs while I'm on the couch. And then even the big dog, she gets up there and I cuddle with her. I try to cuddle with her. But I don't know. She just goes every time. She just runs down and gets in her kennel. And I'm like, where is that big ass dog at? I'm like, did somebody leave her outside? No, she's just down in her kennel. She just loves to be in her kennel. And I don't know. But that basement it wasn't part of my New Year's resolution, but I don't know. That's different because that's like an actual part of my house. The garage is like my thing. The basement is a little bit of everybody's thing. So it's like, that's obviously going to get cleaned up. But right now, I still have my computer desk studio thing set up still a little bit. And that's got to come down. There's no reason to have it. The last probably 8 months, I've been playing my laptop. If I play my laptop, it's going to be upstairs. I do like it at the desk. I got a nice chair. I don't got a bunch of people messing with me. I'm down there by myself. I can turn up the volume. I got 2 monitors. I can play my game. I can play my music. I can, do whatever I want down there. It is pretty cool, but right now it's all cluttered up. Got a lot of cardboard boxes, like the really big boxes that just didn't get broke down and taken out to the trash, over the holidays and whatnot. They're just kind of stacked up, and they kind of blended into the fucking background down in there. So, finally got all those yanked out, thrown in the garage. The garage that I just cleaned up now looks like a mess because I got all these boxes in there, but I got a burn barrel out back. I'm hoping one of these days I'm going to be able to I could do it any day. I could do it today. Maybe I will. I don't know. But I'm kind of waiting for this weekend. I talked to Luke. I talked to him on the podcast, but I talked to him before the podcast about kind of hanging out this weekend, either at his house or my house. It doesn't matter where. If he comes to my house, I got a lot of shit to burn. If we go to his house, I got a pickup truck, and I'll just throw all the shit in the truck, take it over to his house. He's got a burn barrel I gave him from my work, courtesy of my work, and we're going to have a fire. And I said I hadn't drank in a long time, so we talked about kind of doing a little drinking this weekend, which I would rather do that at my house. Honestly, I would rather drink at my own house. I don't want to drink somewhere else and then have to drive home, even though Well, no, I want to drink. I want to get drunk. So I'm probably going to invite him over to my place. But the weather is so fucking nice. I know it's going to get cold again here real soon. But the weather today is super fucking nice. I don't even know what temperature it is right now. Let's look. I don't believe that. It says 63. I think it's hotter than that. But I'm in a t-shirt. I got the windows cracked. And once I get off the podcast, I will be rolling them down even further. The AC does not work very well in this truck. Well, in semi-trucks, they kind of got seasons to them, you know, because you got a big, all of our trucks at least, there's a big yellow knob for the heater core on the firewall. If you open up the hood, there's a big yellow knob there. Shut that motherfucker off in the summer because it just pumps heat into this cab. Whether you're running the heat or not, it'll heat this motherfucker up. So, I don't know. It's supposed to get cold again this weekend. It's supposed to be pretty fucking cold, like high of 30 something or something, you know. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. They said 6 more weeks of winter with that fucking little groundhog deal, but I don't think so. I think it's gonna get a little bit cold, and then it's gonna start getting stormy here. You know, we're getting into the stormy season. You know, March is a good stormy season. March and April and May, even June, July, you know, they're all stormy seasons, you know. I'll get here on the podcast in a few months and I'll be like, will it ever just rain? You know, because that's what it seems like. Sometimes it does just rain. But once you get into the months, it's like every single time it rains, it's like, you got to be ready to go to the basement because of a tornado, you know. Never had one. Had a few scares here and there. Had the sirens go off several times. But never had anything really do too much damage around Kansas City that I know of. I feel like I would know, but I could be missing some news here and there. I know there was one that hit this Lee Summit, which is over on the Missouri side. There's a brief tornado that came down and tore a sign off of a building and threw it into a car. Fucked some shit up. People were losing their minds over that. They're like, half the people were relieved. They were like, finally a tornado hit and it didn't hurt anybody. Jesus, you know, like, we get scared of tornadoes so much, you know. If you talk to people in Kansas City, you know, half of them are saying we're not worried about tornadoes at all, and that's pretty accurate, you know. But I don't know. It's like one could hit Joplin. That's further south. There was that big EF5 tornado that came through Joplin, and that was a bad one. Like it leveled a Walmart, you know, and it was an EF5. I forget what the classifications are, but it doesn't get bigger than EF5, I don't think. Super destructive, but I don't know. Why am I talking about tornadoes? Oh, just weather. The weather's so fucking nice today. And I saw a guy, I only saw one, well, I've seen a couple of people riding bikes that I've been on this drive in the semi, but when I was on my bike, I only saw one person riding to work today. He was a pretty cool guy, I guess. I don't know. Didn't really talk to him, but he was on a Triumph. He had a dealer plate. And that was right as I cut a bunch of traffic off, because people like to cut me off. I don't understand what it is, but they like to just cut me off. They're like, fuck this fat guy on this DR, let's just go around him. When there's plenty of room behind him and everywhere else, let's just speed up and get in front of him. And that just irritates me, and makes me just want to fly around everybody. So that's what I ended up doing this morning. Um, Flew around a bunch of people, and then when I tucked myself back into traffic, I saw this motorcycle, and I zoomed up and got next to him, and we shared the lane for a while, and pulled up to a stoplight, and I was like, "Nice bike." He said, "Oh, thanks." I was hoping he was going to say, "Oh, cool DR." He didn't compliment my bike at all, motherfucker. So maybe he wasn't that cool, but anyways, we shared a lane for a while, and then he was like leaving so much following distance. I was like, come on, man. You got, because I came into his lane, I let him lead, and then he was just going so slow. And I was like, all right, this guy ain't about the fucking motorcycle life that I'm about. So I ended up taking the lead in the lane, and then I look in my mirror and I don't see him anywhere. And then I look to my right, and he's in the other lane, 2 lanes away, fucking zooming down. And I was like, oh shit! So I cut through and zoomed up and caught up to him, and then he took an exit. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, that ain't my exit. So he gave me a nice wave. I gave him a wave, and I hammered down. I said, all right, I'm back on by myself. But I did say, audibly, I was like, I don't know how to ride with people. I don't ride with enough people to know how to just casually ride with people. It's like, all right, I want to ride with this guy, but if he's going to leave all this following distance, we're going to have people speeding up to cut us off. That's what it's going to be. You gotta have enough following distance that you can hit your brakes if the people in front of you start slowing down or have an emergency stop. But you don't want to leave too much room, or you're gonna have dipshits fucking flying up and zooming in and taking that spot. And you don't need that. You don't need people acting erratic while you're on a motorcycle. So there's a lot of defensive driving or riding that you got to do with a motorcycle. And even my grandpa, I talked to him the other day. He's like, just promise me one thing, that when you're riding that bike, you ride it like everybody's trying to run you over and kill you. I'm like, I do, Grandpa. He's like, yeah, you gotta ride like your life depends on it, because it does. I'm like, I know. Thank you for the advice. We are on the same page. Now, if he's, I don't know, I've rode with him, but he was on a moped, so, it was like, it was pretty easy to catch up to him, get around him and stuff. But, I mean, he was still zooming on that fucking thing. And, but I don't know, I just wish I could go back into the heyday where he was riding the DR, and I also had a DR, and I could ride with my grandpa back when he was feeling good, when he was feeling healthy and whatnot. Cause he told me, he's like, yeah, I feel I'm doing a little bit better, but I'm still not doing good, I'm like, yeah. So I don't know, maybe I don't know. I got so many things I want to do this weekend, and then probably some things that my wife wants to get done this weekend. And I don't know. It's like I wanna hop on the DR. I want to hang out with Luke. I want to get drunk and have a fire and let the kids play. I want to go up to hang out with my grandpa and possibly go on a ride. But if it's going to be cold, he ain't going to want to go on a ride. But that doesn't mean I can't go see him, And then also, I got another buddy, and I've brought him up several times on the podcast before. My buddy Jordan, he's my first friend that I met whenever my family moved to the town, and me and him were in the same class in elementary school, 2nd grade. He had just moved there, I had just moved there, and we became like best friends. And then Tyler came along a couple grades later, but once Tyler came, we were all just the best of friends. And we all had dirt bikes. We all rode bikes. We all had cars and drove cars. We all liked doing all the same shit. We liked playing video games. We liked doing everything. And we were all just like a super tight-knit group of friends for a very, very long time. Anyways, I talked to him the other day. I don't even think he knew I had a podcast, which that's my fault for not telling him, but he said he'd like to come on, so I'm going to try to get that interview done one of these days. And we talked about it, and he's like, yeah, this weekend or whatever. So I'd like to get that podcast out and about, going around. I'd also like to just sit and chat with him, even though I talked to him the other day, and I was like, hey, I don't want to say too much. I want to save, like, a lot of our interaction for the podcast if we're going to do one. But also, I can never run out of things to say with people. So we sat there and we had an hour and a half long conversation. So I was like, hey, we can do it over the phone or we can do it in person. And he's like, oh, yeah, let's do it in person. And then we sat there and talked for an hour and a half. And I was like, I should have just hit record and been like, well, let me just record this in case it works out. And it did work out. But we're going to, I don't know. He does all kinds of cool shit. So I'll save all that talk for whenever we get with him and he can explain himself on some things that he's up to these days. Because he's got some cool shit going on. Do not fucking go. Oh my God. My heart just dropped. This Chevy truck looked like he was about to try to make it across the highway, and I was not ready for that. Goodness. So yeah, I got all kinds of shit that I'd like to get done and to do and whatnot. The upgrades for the bike, obviously, since I've talked about it every single episode, those will be coming soon, but probably not for another week or more. I'm not sure. But another thing I added to my list, this might be a little bit of a mistake, but maybe not. I don't know. It's super cheap. It's a welder. I've always wanted a welder. I've wanted to have my own welder. I wanted to practice and just work on my own shit. Sometimes I just need something just tacked, or just two pieces. It'd be so fucking nice if I could just get two pieces of metal to be combined without self-tappers, So I looked on Amazon, and it just kind of came across, probably because I've been thinking about it, and Amazon knows what you're thinking, but welders started coming across, and I saw this one at $50, and it's got 1,000 reviews, and it's 4.5 rating, and I went through all the reviews, and you know where you get the real truth about the product is in the 4-star reviews. The 4-star reviews are where you're going to get factual information, because a lot of these shitty little companies that make these shitty little products they buy people or they buy ratings, they get, 5,000 people to give it a 5-star rating some way, especially with technology these days. They got a way around it, and you can kind of tell who's fake and who's real. And sometimes people do leave a review that's just fucking weird anyways, but they're not, if they're paying for ratings, they're not paying for 4-star ratings. And then if it's a competitor isn't going to give them a 4-star rating. A competitor is going to come in and give them a 1-star rating. They're going to try to bring that rating down. So I don't look at 1-star ratings. I don't look at 5-star ratings. 4-star ratings is where you're going to get the truth. You're going to get people that are actually going to tell you factual information about a product. And I think that's where a lot of people should look, but that's just something I kind of figured up on my own. Makes sense in my head. Maybe I'm wrong, but get in the 4-star ratings, looking at them. These are real people. It sounds like, it doesn't sound like it's an AI generated message or anything. and they'll tell you the problems they have with it, but they're still giving it a high rating, so it's still a good product. So this little $50 welder, I'm probably going to get it, and it's a stick welder. I don't know. I don't really want to have to deal with the fucking flux core. My dad had one a long time back in the day, and it worked. It would do the job, but you're just with a cheap machine feeding the wire through and then getting cheap wire, and it just not fucking doing what you want to do. But with a stick welder, a cheap welder can be a good welder. Now, they did talk about like the clamp that you clamp onto your stick can be pretty shitty, but the clamp is actually the problem. But you can get an upgraded clamp, and you might. That's where the money pit kind of begins, I guess. But I think I'm going to go ahead and get that. And I'm just going to be super careful with the clamp, and yeah, I don't know. I got sheet metal. I got little pieces of sheet metal here and there. I got little holes in my trucks that maybe if I don't care what shit looks like. That's another pro to somebody like me. I want to learn how to weld, and I also don't care how the welds look. As long the worst weld can be cleaned up. With a grinder. Or re-weld it or whatever you got to do. Metal's pretty fun. So, I think I'm going to get this stick welder, and I'm going to buy some, instead of the Ching Chong welding sticks that it comes with, I might get some. I'm going to look at the reviews and see what welding sticks really work good with it, because, you can't get too thick of a stick, especially for this tiny little welder. Like, it's tiny. Super duper small. And I don't know, some of the ratings, they were like, oh, well, the leads are super short, and the cord to plug the welder in is super short, so you gotta, your welder is going to be in your immediate work area, unless you buy these. I bought these leads or whatever, so I'm going to look at that and try to make a decision, but getting a welder would be pretty fucking cool. It's not going to be, I'm not going to be welding up like a fucking fuel tank or something. Well, I might actually be doing that. I don't know. But I don't know, it'd be good if I decide that I need to modify a go kart, or just build a go kart, something. I think it'd be good for that. I don't know. Maybe a stick welder could do like body panels, because I got the new cab corners for my '92 Chevy, that one of them is panel bonded on, one of them is welded on, and it'd be kind of cool if I could, weld that other one on. It's got panel bond and self tappers sticking in it, and it's been like that for a long time. So I could weld on that. Other little things. I don't know. I don't want to say I'm going to put a roll cage in my truck, but if I find enough tubing and I have a welder and I feel like I'm good enough at welding, it's not going to be, I'm not going to competitions and stuff. But if I could weld up some sort of a cage in my square body, I'd do that. And well, right now I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm gonna bang these aluminum sheets into my floorboard and use some um, what the fuck are they called? Rivets to hold these aluminum sheets in. Well, what if I find enough sheet metal somewhere, which is likely? I can find some sheet metal somewhere, and I can actually weld in a floorboard to the truck. It's going to get covered with carpet, so it's like, it doesn't fucking matter what it looks like, as long as it doesn't have air coming through the floor. And that would be a better option, probably, just welding in a new floor. Because the rivets, that would work for a while, but where I rivet is eventually going to rust out, and then the floor is going to be just as rickety and worse, you know. But if I weld it, I can clean it all up, and I can clean it up either way, but it might last longer if it's welded versus riveted. Um, like just repairing stuff like my hood. I could weld in those hood savers or whatever, because my hood bends in half when you try to shut the damn thing. It's a square body thing. Let's say I crack my frame on my DR. You know, I could just throw a couple welds there. You know, I get an exhaust leak, or I want to weld a muffler on. You know, boom, I got a welder. You know, having a welder is just really, really fucking handy. Trying to talk myself into it is what I'm doing. Trying to make it sound like a really good idea. It's only $50. I mean, how wrong can it be? You know, I'm already spending quite a bit of money. Add another $50. It ain't gonna be the end of the world. It might be something really useful, and I might say, "Wow, you know, I'm glad I did that. Glad I got that welder." I was talking to somebody. Who was I talking? Oh, Jordan. I was talking to him about welding, because he went to a school that used to be out here in Kansas City, Vatterott. Him and Tyler. I don't know why I never went. It would have been cool for me to go. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but they went to this place called Vatterott, and they went to welding school. And they're both pretty fucking good at welding. You know, they had really good teachers, and they learned how to weld very well. And Jordan even has this. He's got a welder. He kind of let that slip. I was like, oh, really? You know. So what was I saying? Oh, he's got. Well, we'll save that for his conversation. We'll talk in depth about what he's got going on. But just mufflers, exhaust. Because I really need to get a muffler put on my truck, and I've been thinking. Well, the whole reason I decided another. How should I word this? I'm coming into a little bit of money, not a lot of money, but a little bit of money that I was going to, and the justification was I need to take my 92 to a muffler shop and have somebody put a whole new exhaust system into the truck, because everything's super rusted. If I get a $50 welder, I can go get a $25 muffler and cut, material back, go buy a little piece of pipe or whatever, and potentially fix my whole problem for way cheaper than I would be spending at a muffler shop for all new equipment. It would be nice to get a whole new exhaust system put in the 92, but also just look at the 92. Should I spend that much money on the exhaust? You know, like the truck. The exhaust system would be worth more than the truck. Not realistically, because I would never sell it for whatever the muffler costs, but it would also increase the value of it, I guess. But I don't know. If I could buy a $50 welder and put an exhaust on my truck for at home by myself, I think I'd rather do that. You know? I just don't know how people weld, you know. How do you weld the top of the pipe, you know, if it's bolted onto the truck? You gotta unbolt the whole motherfucker and get it out of there and put different clamps in there. I don't know, but just welding the top of a pipe. I'm gonna have exhaust leaks, man. This road is a piece of shit, man. This is a different highway. Worse condition. North, it wasn't so bad. I'm headed south now. I-35 southbound. Just got off of 36, if for people that are following along. I'm super thirsty. I'm gonna have to stop. I'm gonna have to stop, grab me a drink. Ugh. This road is not good for podcasting. I'm just watching the road, looking for the bumps. The people that did this to this road should be fucking beat up. Oh my! All right, we gotta slow down. The people that did this to this highway, I-35, mile marker 46. Google it. Google it. Satellite image. Look at this fucking highway. Holy shit, dude. These motherfuckers, it looks like a goddamn piano. Dude, if you are gonna patch every foot, just patch the whole fucking thing. What the fuck is this? God damn it, dude. That's a part of the highway that I've complained about back when I was running up into Des Moines damn near every day. And I don't know, I haven't been up here in a while. It's still the same. It's still the same. I'm driving over a piano. That's what it's like, you know. It's so fucking bumpy. The left lane is perfectly fine. You're not supposed to be in the left lane if you're not passing somebody, but Jesus, dude. Oh my goodness. Yowz. I don't know. I feel like I should end the podcast, but I think this is the piano area is about to end, and I can actually think about something. Ugh, good. All right, other things to talk about: welding and working on stuff. Oh, whenever I don't know, the mid pipe that I'm thinking about getting for the DR is stainless, and the original, the header pipe is just steel. I don't know if you can weld stainless to steel. You should be able to. I don't know. But I saw a couple of videos of people for the mid pipe that I'm looking at on the Amazon reviews. This guy had his welded on. He says, I got mine welded on by a shop, and it looks fucking good. But I don't know. If I get my own welder, I could do it. This fucking blows, man. The tires I'm gonna get for the DR, I don't know. I'm super skeptical about them. I don't know, because a lot of people act like the DR is they're like, oh, I only ride it on trails and stuff. It's like, I don't know. A lot of people do ride them on the road. I mean, I don't. All right, I believe that is the end of the fucking shit highway. A lot of people that ride the DR, they just ride it for trails and stuff. Me, it's my commuter, and I want it to be my trail bike. These tires, they're making it sound like these tires are gonna wear out halfway through the riding season if I ride it as much as I plan on. But for $150, you know, is that big of a deal? You know, I'm getting a front and a back tire. $150 for 3 months worth of riding. $50 a month. Is that worth it? And then, you know, obviously going to the tire shop and dealing with that shit. and but nobody wears them down to their till they're slicks. That's super dangerous to do that. But and even some people were showing pictures of their bike. They're like 90% dirt lasted me this long, and they look worn out. And I'm like, damn, dude, I didn't know tires for just trail riding would get worn out like that. I guess I don't know if you're doing burnouts on rocks and shit, but just like riding through mud and dirt, gravel will chew them up pretty good. I don't know, and the road is just gonna wear them down. It's just sandpaper. You're just riding on sandpaper the whole time. I ride with a higher PSI, so maybe that'll help me out, or it'll just put the wear instead of wearing the whole tire, it'll just wear the middle of the tire. Um, I don't know. We'll find out. These are just thoughts I have in my own head. These are the things I think about. To tell you the truth, I can't wait to get on the podcast and talk about the DR. Repeat the same shit over and over and over again. I'm kind of insane. I'm super excited about it. I'm hyped. I want to talk about dirt bikes with people. Nobody wants to talk about dirt bikes with me, though. My uncle, but I don't want to talk Zeroff every day, all day long, and ask him the same questions. And his answers are mainly, yeah, try it out. And I'm like, yeah, I will. I do want to try it, but I'd also like to talk about it. Try to get my brother Kenny, talk to him again today. I'm like, dude, and that's going to be my talking point every time I talk with him is sell that fucking street bike, dude. Sell that street bike. I think he can get at least $3,000 for it. He should be able to get more than that, but he said he paid $3,600 for it. He said he paid $3,600 for it. It's a Suzuki 600cc. I don't even know what it is. It's not like an R6 or anything. I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm not good with street bikes. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool bike, but I'm like, dude, just think about it. Like, sell that thing. He doesn't ride it anyways. Like, we've had so many good riding days, and I'm the only one that's been we have a lot of people that ride bikes, and nobody else has ridden their bike into work lately, or well, this year at all. I'm the only one that's been riding their bike in. And then even I had the fleet manager. I pulled up next to him, and he's like, I thought about riding my bike today. I'm like, you should have. Dude, this fucking sucks, dude. This road, man. I don't know, just when I ride a bike, I want everybody to ride a bike, and dude, it's just super sad. I mean, I follow the Facebook groups. Obviously, everybody on the Facebook groups are riding, but I don't see any of them ever. I don't see anybody riding bikes, like, there should be motorcycles all over the fucking place. I had a rock fly up and hit my cab here. That was weird. There should be more motorcycles on the road. I think when there's more motorcycles on the road, the more cars are aware of motorcycles on the road. If it's like, watch for motorcycles. It's getting into riding season. Everybody watch out. But Then you get out here on a nice, perfect day, and there's nobody riding a fucking motorcycle. Like, dude, I don't know, man. If it's nice out, if it's even, if it's above freezing and dry, I'm riding that fucking thing in. The gas savings is well worth it. That's the other thing. I tried to talk to my grandpa about tuning the car because it gets 30 miles a gallon, and it's like it should get better than that. It should definitely get better than that. So I don't know. And I did see recently a guy put an O2 sensor in his exhaust. That's so he can fine tune his bike or whatever. So I don't know. And I guess that's pretty. I don't know. I don't know how cheap that is. I don't know what kind of. You got to get some sort of a computer screen with the chip and whatnot. You can tune it, and then because you're gonna measure the exhaust air and shit, oxygen, the O2 sensor. You're gonna measure that, and that's gonna help you tune, and you're gonna be able to tune it to really be a good spot. Then you unplug all that shit, put a plug in the fucking O2 port, and then you just leave it like that. It's not something you gotta have connected to your bike all the time. Now, a lot of the newer bikes, and especially fuel injected bikes, they I don't know, they adjust. They have their O2 sensors adjust the adjust shit for you and make it optimal all the time, or try to, at least. That's the idea of it, I believe. I might be wrong, but God. But if I could just get it to where I can tune it for fuel mileage, I don't think it's not gonna take a lot of power out of it. And also, I think this new muffler that I get for the bike is gonna also help it get better fuel mileage. I don't know. I think my goal would be like 50 miles a gallon. Am I able to do that? I don't know. I got a jet kit that came with the bike. Maybe I can rejet it. I can, I would really like to get better fuel mileage on that thing. I feel like if you're riding a motorcycle, you should be getting pretty good gas mileage, Make it a little bit more worth it, and it's still going to be fast. It's still going to have power. And I do have problems with it right now, but it's been going on for a little bit. Ever since it started getting cold out, whenever I fire it up in the morning, I leave it on choke for a while. Well, like a minute. And then I switch the choke off. I mean, I just choke it, and I can fire it up and turn the choke off, and it'll sit there and idle. But I leave the choke on for a little bit, just so it's burning more fuel, it's warming up a little bit faster, and then I turn the choke off and I hop on it, and it's been taking me until like my neighborhood. I got to go 2 blocks down the neighborhood before it starts running properly. Before that, I can only get it to go like 10 miles an hour, and it sounds like shit. But I know that as soon as it warms up, it's going to be perfect to hit the main road and then hit the highway and then do 90 all the way to work. It'll be perfectly fine. But I don't know. It's weird. I feel like it shouldn't do what it's doing. It's just like it's starving for something. And I don't know. But then once it runs fine, once it warms up, it's perfectly fine. So, anyways, just saying, I need to do some carb tuning. I just cleaned the carb out, so we should be good there. I didn't like take it completely apart, but I did like go through it and make sure there's not like a bunch of junk in there and put it back together. It's not leaking. It's getting fuel and it's doing what it's supposed to do. But I don't know. And then whenever it first started doing that choke, where, well, not choke, but where it's like starving for fuel and it doesn't want to run right, that's when I changed out the old fuel filter. But it's just a single screen fuel filter. It's not like keeping particulates out of my fuel. It'll stop. It might stop a piece of hair. Is like what my fuel filter. I guess there's another fuel filter inside the carburetor, and maybe that's something I need to look into. But the fuel filter that's in line from the petcot to the carburetor, the old one was completely clear. Like there was nothing wrong with it at all. I saved it. I threw it in my box extra parts. I still swapped it to a brand new fuel filter just because I already had that in mind, but it was completely clear. You can see right through it. You know, you don't even have to have light or anything. You just look in there and you can see the filter. It's clear. It's clean and clear. So that's not a problem. But if I do get like dirt or whatever in my fuel, that it should stop it, and then it would get plugged up. But nope, everything is pretty fucking clean. And I always fill it up with 93 octane. It's what it likes. I don't know. I think it likes anything, but I run it 93. And a lot of the times the 93 is ethanol free, and I would rather not run ethanol in that older bike. It's not really, it shouldn't have ethanol in it. But speaking of that, I do need to do an oil change. Maybe I'll do that today if I get off early enough, which I should. It says I'm going to be at my shop in half an hour at 2:00, which I need to stall a little bit. I can't be getting back at 2:00. I mean, I got probably 30 minutes worth of work to do once I get to the shop. So I'm probably going to pull over right up here at, I don't know. I don't want to go to a Pilot, and the Casey's is a bitch to get in and out of. I'll run this down. I'll go to a different truck stop up here. I'm going to stop for a little bit, grab a drink, maybe even grab some food, even though I had breakfast earlier. But grab some food. Guess I could have pulled into there to the Burger King. I'm in a straight truck. I keep forgetting I'm in a straight truck that I can fit inside parking lots with this thing. When you're running with a tanker truck, just plan on not being able to go anywhere unless it's a truck stop. But what was I saying? Oh, I was saying whenever I get home, if I get home in time, maybe I will do another oil change on the bike. I think I have plenty of oil to do another oil change. I've already got 2 rides in on the bike to and from work with this oil change. It had gasoline in there from last weekend, Sunday, whenever I was fucking with the suspension. The car was draining fuel into the cylinder, and then it was bleeding past the rings into the oil, and I had a lot of gasoline in my oil. But I did take that gasoline oil mixture and I poured it into a antifreeze jug that I had laying around, and I put tape around it and I wrote fire starter on it because I think that's going to be perfect for fucking starting up a fire somewhere. Because usually I just use regular gasoline. I'll just pour a little gasoline on some branches and some cardboard or whatever, light that motherfucker up. I don't want to be dicking around with a fucking fire for a long time. Like I use I'm burning some gasoline or some oil or something to get that fire going, because I have somehow my in-laws' house burned down without anybody trying to. I can't start a fire in a barrel in my backyard unless I have half a gallon of gasoline. You know, like, fire's a weird fucking thing. Like, if you try to make fire, it ain't happening. And if you're not trying to make fire, it'll just spontaneously burn your fucking house down. That's another reason you should go change your fucking, clean out your fucking dryer, motherfuckers. Okay, go out there, go to your dryer, look down in there, and decide for yourself: is this worth taking apart and possibly not burning down my residence, or maybe I should just watch a YouTube video and take 15 minutes to clean this motherfucker out. Please do it, okay? I would hate. You never know when that's going to happen too, because my wife, she does not like to run the laundry whenever we're not home. Well, my wife thought that if you laid a blanket over a vent, it would burn your house down. I was like, no. And if you drop a cordless phone in the fucking toilet, it's not going to electrocute you. Like, it's just, I can see how you think, but that's also totally wrong. Yeah, like, the kids are bad about that. They love to just leave shit all over the vents anyways, whenever we're trying to heat the house up or whatever, or even cool it down. There's just shit laying on the vents all the time. There's like, my daughter will have all her baby dolls and stuffed animals just covering every vent in the house. It's like, why are you doing that? Why are you I was like, man, it's hot in here. The AC is on. Why are all the vents covered with baby dolls and bullshit? Like, what are you doing? She don't know. It's just something on the floor that she could stick a baby doll on, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, my wife was always like, oh, well, you can't, because I do have a shelf covering half of a vent. It's a nice shelf. I like where the shelf is. The vent is just a little bit in the way, and the kitchen table's also a little bit in the way. So the shelf is covering up half of a vent. She's like, it's gonna burn the house down. I'm like, babe, it's hot air, and it's not, it's not flammable. The vents are not blowing fire out. That's irrational, is what it is. And then I don't think it was her, but it was somebody I knew growing up, or a story I heard, or somebody dropped. It's back when people still had house phones, and they had cordless house phones. There was a guy, Matt, that lived in my neighborhood, that he had the coolest house phones. He could ride all the way to the end of the street with his house phone. It was a flip phone house phone. This was a long, long time ago. But he had a flip phone house phone, and he could ride his bike to the end of the street and still make phone calls. Don't know why that part of the story came up, but somebody dropped one in the toilet, and they were, I don't know if they called the fire department. I don't know what the hell happened, but they were really concerned with getting electrocuted, dropping a cordless phone in the toilet. Kind of silly, right? Everybody agrees that's silly. Thank you for agreeing with me. If you didn't agree with me, go down in the comment section and say, my aunt actually dropped her rechargeable dildo in the fucking toilet while she was taking a shit and jerking off at the same time, and she got electrocuted from the coochie all the way up. Let me know. Or just any electrocution stories. That would be kind of cool. I got another one, then I'm going to end this. My dad was building the basement of our house that we grew up in. It was just an empty, unfinished basement. He walled it all in and got everything going, and he was building this wall, and then there was the light switch to the bedroom and the fan switch and everything, and there was a blue screw inside the light switch. He didn't have the cover put on yet. It was still under construction. And my little brother, Kyle, pudgy bitch, motherfucker, went down in there and he saw the blue screw and he just couldn't help himself. And he touched it and he zapped himself. And that's why his thumbs are fucking weird, I think. I don't know. He's got them half thumbs. You ever seen people with them half thumbs? He's the only one in our family like it. Don't know what happened to him. If he's adopted, he's also blonde. Everybody else is brown hair. He's blonde with cut off thumbs. Looks like he was pushing stamps on his mail too hard. You know, he's got, like, if you look at your thumbnail, unless you have what he's got, cut it in half. Cut the tip off of your thumb. That's what he is. That's the way he was born. I didn't do that to him. He was born with weird ass looking thumbs, and I give him shit all the time. Like, if I text him, we'll have a text conversation, and then I'll say, "Hey, I'm surprised are you using text to talk? Because I cannot believe that your fat, pudgy little fucking bullshit thumbs could type all these words." You know, he's my brother. Give him shit. Adios. Keep all 18 down. We're going to talk to you later. You all have a wonderful day, and I will too.